what I saw you post on Instagram about the film with a Taylor Swift lyric from Long Live. I know you're a Swiftie, like I am.
Yes, huge Swiftie. And I had the time of my life fighting dragons with these people, so.
Her tour starts this Friday, so I have to ask, have you secured your tickets? Do you know when you're going?
I got screwed by Ticketmaster too, guys. Celebrities are just like us. No, I don't have tickets. I don't have.
You need to make some calls. We need to make this happen.
I know. But also, I just want everybody who worked really hard to get those seats to get them and get to see it.
You do not want Swifties against you. But did Rachel Zegler just test that theory? There's a silent rule in the entertainment world that even A-list celebrities rarely break. Don't mess with Taylor Swift's fan base. Whether you're a Hollywood veteran or a rising Gen Z icon, poking at the Swifties is like lighting a match in a fireworks factory. And Rachel Zegler might have just done exactly that.
What does Rachel smell of?
Cashmere vanilla.
Does Rachel like Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Who is Rachel's celebrity crush?
Oh, she's told me this before. You even say it though.
At first glance, it seemed innocent. Just a passing comment in a Teen Vogue interview, one that could have been about any celebrity. She didn't name drop. She didn't throw direct shade. But somehow, the Swifties knew. And once they locked in on it, all bets were off. TikTok exploded. Tweets were dissected. Fan theories flew faster than a Taylor Swift tour presale. And suddenly, Rachel Zegler wasn't just the face of Disney's Snow White. She was the newest target of a fandom known for turning digital storms into full-blown hurricanes. But here's the question. Did she mean to go there? Or are Swifties so used to defending their queen that they saw shade where there wasn't any? Either way, the drama's alive, the internet's watching, and this story is juicier than it has any right to be. Let's break down exactly what Rachel said, how fans reacted, and whether she just made a career-altering mistake or a genius PR move disguised as controversy.
I want to talk to you about this because I know you're a big Swiftie.
Yes.
And you were at the Eras. How cool are you?
She looks very sad, but that was just because I had food poisoning.
No.
I did.
You did not?
I did, but...
You still went to the show?
Oh, I would not have... I sold my kidney to be there,
Really?
yeah.
You love her that much?
I love her so much.
Back in the day, Swiftie?
Yeah, from self-titled album, which we're still waiting for the re-record of. See?
So what did Rachel Zegler actually say? In an October interview with Teen Vogue, Zegler was asked about the way women in the public eye are constantly judged. Every word, every outfit, every breath up for analysis. And she responded with a message that seemed thoughtful, until you heard it in context. I think it's bizarre how people will dedicate their entire digital lives to picking apart female celebrities. Like, touch some grass. She didn't name names. She didn't have to.
I found my people in the audience.
Yeah. But are you one of those people at the concerts that yell out, the next song's gonna be this or that?
Oh, I knew the set list, I know the callbacks, and I was waiting for the secret songs.
Secret song?
Yeah, my best friend Brenna had gone in Atlanta before the MetLife show, and I went to MetLife night one, and she said to, thank you, and she said to my older sister Jacqueline, who I took to the show with me, she was like, Jacqueline, if they play Getaway Car or Maroon, she's on crisis watch. Not only did she play Getaway.
Immediately, fans started to fill in the blanks. Online sleuths, especially from the Swiftie side of TikTok, latched on to the phrasing, the timing, and the subtle undertones. And just like that, the headline went from Zegler defends women in media to Rachel Zegler just dragged Taylor Swift stans. It didn't help that this interview came out right as Swift was back in headlines for her romance with Travis Kelce and surprise appearances on the Eras tour. Swifties were already on high alert. Then Zegler's quote dropped like a spark in dry grass. TikTok started stitching her quote with footage of Swift crying on stage. Others showed montages of fans spending hours decoding Swift's lyrics, Easter eggs, and outfits, only to sarcastically caption it, "This you?" And honestly, it was kind of wild to watch. A comment meant to call out bad internet behavior got flipped into a full-on attack on Swift's most loyal supporters. Some fans felt it was a low-key swipe. Others, they saw it as deliberate. Because here's the twist. This isn't the first time Rachel Zegler's words have been interpreted, less than charitably. And coming off the heels of her already controversial Snow White press run, this quote couldn't have hit at a worse time.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
So, was this just a clumsy general statement? Or a quiet jab at the most powerful fandom in pop culture? One thing's for sure, the Swifties weren't about to let it slide. And that's when things started to spiral. The quote had barely been out for 24 hours before SwiftHawk got to work. And when SwiftHawk gets involved, things escalate fast. At first it was subtle, a few videos side-eyeing Rachel's comment. Then someone made a stitched clip of her saying picking apart female celebrities next to a Taylor Swift fan decoding hidden symbols in the Karma music video. The caption? Just say you're scared of Swifties and go. It snowballed. One user posted, Rachel Zegler out here acting like she wouldn't trade lives with a Swiftie in a heartbeat. Another joked, girl, we pick apart lyrics, not low-budget Disney remakes. What made it worse? People started comparing Rachel's own fan interactions to Taylor's. While Taylor's known for surprise gifts and heartfelt messages to her fans, Rachel had gone viral months earlier for blocking users who criticized her Snow White comment.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude. It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut.
Just standing there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
The contrast was too perfect, and the internet lives for a villain arc. Some fans went deeper, suggesting that this wasn't just shade, it was a calculated move to redirect attention. One TikToker posted, every time her name drops off trending, she makes some offhand comment about women or the industry. She knew exactly what this would trigger, and the engagement proved it. Within 48 hours, Rachel Zegler had over 15 million views. Most of them weren't kind. Others took a more humorous route, dubbing her Rachel Z Ego and making fake trailers like Snow White and the 7 Swifties. This time it's personal. But all jokes aside, one thing became crystal clear. When the Swifties feel targeted, they don't just react, they organize, they dissect, they build a narrative, and they make sure the internet remembers. Which brings us to the bigger issue, because this wasn't just about one quote. This was part of a pattern. And for Rachel Zegler, it couldn't have come at a worse time. Long before she was trending for a potential jab at Swifties, Rachel Zegler was already caught in a storm of backlash, and it all started with a tiara. When Disney announced the live-action Snow White, it should have been a dream come true. A rising Latina actress cast as one of Disney's most iconic characters? Instant headlines, instant buzz. But instead of building excitement, Zegler's early interviews stirred up controversy. In one clip, she confidently declared, the original Snow White is weird. She waits around for a guy who literally stalks her. Not a movie I watched growing up. Yikes. That didn't sit well with fans of the classic. It also didn't help when she followed up by saying the new Snow White would be a leader, not saved by a prince. Was it modern? Yes. Empowering? Possibly. But the internet didn't like the tone, and critics accused her of trashing the legacy of the character she was hired to represent.
And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue on Snow White and the prince and young love and women who want to get married and Steven Spielberg, the executive producer of her previous movie, and white people who she claims wanted to know if she was really a Latina on her first movie.
It's also a generational thing. I mean, her generation has basically grown up being told every opinion you have, post it online, share it with the world. You're the most special person. The world revolves around you. Everyone has to change to fit your beliefs because you're so special and you're so important and everything you say is validated and that's your truth. And that's not going away anytime.
Suddenly, Snow White wasn't trending for nostalgia. It was trending for outrage. She was labeled everything from arrogant to disrespectful, and Disney's PR team had to scramble. The backlash got so intense, some users even created parody boycott trailers. And when box office analysts began predicting a flop, the narrative stuck. Rachel Zegler ruined Snow White before it even premiered. So when she made another bold statement, this time about obsessive fan behavior, it wasn't received as a neutral take. It was seen as part of her pattern, a pattern of being too online, too opinionated, too willing to bite the hand that feeds. And this time, the hand might belong to the biggest fandom in the world. So the real question is, was Rachel trying to spark meaningful conversation? Or just setting another fire she couldn't put out? If there's one thing you learn in Hollywood fast, it's that Taylor Swift is more than a pop star. She's a brand, a business, a global movement. And her fan base, they don't just stand. They build empires, boost sales, crash ticketing sites, and yes, completely dismantle careers if they feel someone stepped out of line. That's why most celebrities are very careful when talking about her. Even people who don't like Swift's music will tiptoe around public statements just to avoid setting off a fandom that's practically built for digital war. And it's not just paranoia, there's a track record. Remember when Damon Albarn, frontman of Gorillaz, claimed Taylor didn't write her own songs? He was trending worldwide within an hour, for all the wrong reasons. He had to issue a public apology the next day. Swifties weren't having it. Or how about Ginny and Georgia? That Netflix show casually joked about Taylor's dating life. One throwaway line: "What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift." And Swifties launched a full-scale review bombing campaign. The show got dragged online for weeks. So imagine the reaction when someone like Rachel Zegler, who's already fighting negative press, made a comment that fans interpreted as a jab at them. It doesn't even matter if it was intentional. In the world of internet fandoms, perception is reality. Zegler's defenders tried to argue she was just standing up for female celebrities in general, but that didn't matter. Swifties weren't just mad, they were strategic. They pulled up old interviews, questionable tweets, and every past quote that could be used to build a case against her. Because to Swifties, this wasn't about a single interview. It was about respect, loyalty, and someone who seemed to think she could mock the fandom without consequences. And the internet started asking, does Rachel Zegler actually understand how powerful this fandom is? Spoiler alert, if she didn't before, she does now. But the heat didn't stop online. It started pouring into her public image, and that's where things get serious. Once the Swifties took offense, the dominoes started to fall, and social media didn't hold back. Within days, Rachel Zegler started trending alongside terms like irrelevant, Snow White flop, and Swiftie enemy #1. Her Instagram comments were flooded. People weren't even debating her quotes anymore. They were mocking her entire career. TikTok became a battlefield. One viral video showed a side-by-side of Taylor Swift's sold-out stadium tour, and Rachel Zegler saying, "No one is going to be thinking about the prince" in Snow White. The caption? "One of these women understands her audience." Even fans who once supported Zegler began turning. Some said they felt embarrassed for defending her after the Disney press tour. Others joked that she was entering her Trisha Paytas arc, saying controversial things just to stay relevant. But here's the wildest part. People started repackaging her older interviews to fit this new narrative. A clip of her calling the Snow White story dated was suddenly edited to make it seem like she was mocking traditional femininity. Another quote about not needing a prince to save her was twisted into, "She thinks she's better than every classic princess." It didn't matter if the edits were misleading. The vibe had shifted. And in the court of public opinion, Zegler was losing fast. The memes kept coming. The Swiftie edits got more brutal. And the more she stayed silent, the worse it got. Some users even made videos pretending to be Disney execs reacting to the chaos. "We cast her as Snow White and now she's beefing with Taylor Swift's fandom? We're so cooked." And while it might sound like internet drama, the implications are real. Rachel Zegler has major projects on the line. Franchises, marketing budgets, potential sequels. Disney needs clean, bankable stars, not trending controversy magnets. And so the question shifted from, did she offend Swifties, to something much scarier. Could this backlash actually tank her career? At this point, we've got two competing narratives. One side sees Rachel Zegler as a celebrity who keeps stepping in it, clumsy, overly opinionated, and disconnected from how fans actually consume pop culture. The other thinks she might be playing a very deliberate game. Because here's the thing, in 2025, controversy is currency. And whether you love or hate Rachel Zegler right now, you're talking about her. That Teen Vogue interview? It wasn't about Swifties, it was about Zegler. But now, thanks to the reaction, her name is all over TikTok, Twitter, YouTube thumbnails, and media headlines. Some fans are starting to ask, was this all planned? Think about it. The timing was suspiciously perfect. Just weeks before major press begins for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes hitting streaming platforms, Rachel's back in the spotlight. Not for acting, not for singing, but for saying something bold enough to ignite discourse. And this isn't new for her. During her Snow White press run, she made headlines for challenging outdated narratives. That sparked backlash, but it also made her the most talked about actress in the movie. Same pattern, different quote. It raises a bigger question. In an era where algorithms reward outrage, is it better to be loved or just not ignored? Because let's be real, viral hate can still fill seats. It can trend your name. It can lead to podcast invites, talk show clips, even viral sound bites that dominate FYPs. And if Zegler knows that, even a little, then this entire controversy may have been less accident, more strategy. Of course, there's risk. Playing with fandom fire doesn't always end well. Some stars bounce back, others get burned. So what's it going to be for Rachel? Has she just hacked the internet, or has she overplayed her hand? As the dust begins to settle, the verdict on Rachel Zegler is far from clear. On one hand, she's now firmly seated in the public conversation. Whether it's through drama, memes, or hot takes, people can't stop talking. And in the world of entertainment, attention is power. Zegler's name is showing up in more headlines, more recommendation feeds, and more reaction videos than ever before. But on the flip side, the long-term damage could be real. Disney isn't just watching the social media numbers, they're watching sentiment. They're tracking whether whether audiences still see Zegler as a relatable actress, or if she's veering into difficult-to-work-with territory, especially when your role is literally a fairy tale icon known for kindness and sweetness. And then there's the Swiftie factor. Taylor Swift doesn't need to speak a word for her fan base to act. If they decide Rachel Zegler is an enemy, that label might stick. It's not just about a moment, it's about a mark. And in an industry obsessed with image, marks are hard to shake. So now Zegler is at a crossroads. Does she double down on being bold, opinionated, and unfiltered? Or does she go quiet, ride the storm out, and try to rebuild? Either way, she's learned a brutal lesson. In today's digital age, your words don't just echo, they spiral. And when you aim those words anywhere near the Swiftie universe, you'd better be ready for impact, because there's a fine line between a hot take and a headline, and Rachel Zegler may have just crossed it.